So we'll get started. My name is Elizabeth Ayala, and so again, remember, please, everyone is on mute. If you can use either the chat box, and to pose questions, use the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, and we'll get started. So for our agenda today, we're going to talk about the Women's Foundation. We're going to talk about the Solís Policy Institute, so history, structure. We're going to hear from an alum from local and talk about the application process and have time for questions at the end. I'm Elizabeth Ayala, pronouns she, her, ella. I'm a senior program manager here at the foundation and one of the lead facilitators for Solís Policy Institute Local. On with us as well is our Zoom manager, Sinclair Blue, they, them, theirs, and logistics manager, and will be helping monitor the Q&A section, as well as our SPI local alum, Toya Vick, and then our colleague as well, Danye Saunders, who is Senior Director for Leadership and Training Programs at the Foundation. So welcome everyone, and we hope we'll be able to answer all your questions with this bench. So information about Women's Foundation California. We are a statewide publicly supported foundation, and we are here to serve you and the communities you represent. The Women's Foundation is dedicated to achieving racial, economic, and gender justice by centering the experience and expertise of communities most impacted by systemic injustice. We were founded in 1979 to fund organizations that are generating solutions to address the complex issues that affect individuals facing gender injustice. We invest in and amplify the work of grassroots leaders like yourselves and organizations across California. So I do want to take a moment to confirm who the foundation serves. SPI is inclusive of all communities affected by gender-based oppression and discrimination, including trans and cis women, gender variant, non-binary, and genderqueer individuals, and trans men. And just to explain terminology, cisgender describes someone who identifies with the gender they were assigned at birth. Transgender describes someone who identifies with a gender different from the one they were assigned at birth. And so for us, gender justice is the core value of the Women's Foundation of California, and SPI welcomes applications from the transgender and gender nonconforming community. So information about Solís Policy Institute. SPI is composed of 2 different fellowships that train grassroots leaders, either in local, which is the Policy Institute we're talking about right now, or state level policy advocacy. And so, as you could expect, SPI State focuses on state legislation. It's the first institute that was founded and is a year-long intensive fellowship. It runs September to August, and applications for that will open in the summer for the next class. In 2015, we expanded the Solís Policy Institute to include a program focused on local government. The pilot was in Riverside County, and since then has included teams from across the state. Please note that the class of 2025, the class that you would be applying for, is a refreshed curriculum from previous years of SPI Local. So for those of you who might be who might know another local alum, just know that the curriculum structure has changed from previous cohorts, and part of that change includes for the first includes a regionalized multi-year focus. And so for this initial class of 2025, we're going to be exclusively recruiting candidates who either live or work with at least half of their work in LA County. And we'll go into more of that information later as well. And to know that the SPI Alum Network is nearly 700 alums from both institutes, and that the Solís Policy Institute used to be called the Women's Policy Institute and was renamed the Dr. Beatriz María Solís Institute in the honor of Beatriz Solís after she passed in 2020 and in partnership with the California Endowment. So thinking about our social justice framework, or the approach that the Solís Policy Institute takes, is a core value of the foundation is that those closest to the problem are in the best position to find a solution. That's you. That's our communities. And so we train participants on how to create progressive policy change within what is right now the current government system. So SPI also, in addition to the policy change, we seek to increase the number of individuals impacted by gender injustice who are in that policy arena. And so while we encourage each cohort to critique, understand the institutionalized oppression, the program's primary objective is to train participants in what is the current system or reality of our legislative bodies, both state and local. And additionally, our framework is an explicitly anti-racist lens, and we require fellows to research and analyze equity ramifications of their policy interest around being explicitly anti-racist. And like previously said, gender justice is a major lens of the foundation, and that includes uplifting the experience and needs of the TGI community. In terms of our SPI track record, SPI counts success in two ways. For us, success is the experience, assets gained by our fellows, as well as policy changes. So one of that measures means in one of our 10-year assessments, we found that 76% of alumni are still engaged in policy advocacy past SPI or their year, and that the vast majority reported gaining confidence and understanding of government as a result of their experience. And then another measure is SPI state, having successfully passed over 50 bills into California law. And that doesn't include the local government teams who have gone on to change policy or individual fellows who have gone on to change policy in their local county, city, school district. And so to understand SPI, I want to talk about 4 elements that are important for you to know. First, the SPI revolves around an experiential learning, so learning while doing approach. This is a training program, but the project is yours. You will be meeting with real local elected or local government bureaucrats, right? Second, that the SPI program fosters individual leadership development. Our alumni overwhelmingly feel they grew more confident as a result of their SPI participation. And so we encourage and actively build into the program, increasing your self-awareness, eliminating self-limiting thoughts, trying something new on, building skills through practice, and just some of that core knowledge about local government, for example. In addition, SPI is team-based. This year, we are accepting individual applications, and you will be matched into teams for the issue area that you're interested in. And so it's important that you're able to work well with others, compromise, work out differences, which is true, right, of all our coalition work, whether at the state or the local government level. And finally, the SPI emphasizes cross-movement building. So one of the beauties of SPI is that we're going to bring together a cohort with different issue areas, right? 4 issue areas, 1 team per issue area. And so you should expect to learn, grow, and be pushed sometimes or challenged by your fellow SPIers to consider other approaches, and that cross-movement building is an integral part of the foundation strategy for building justice and social justice networks across California. So again, just to go back to SPI Local, we have created a program refresh. So the program will be shorter than previously. And so secondly, class of 2025 is recruiting from Los Angeles County. And then in addition, the scope for SPI Local this year will be 4 issue areas: climate justice, immigration systems, and that's looking at the intersection of immigration law enforcement and the criminal justice system, housing security, as well as TGI wellness and justice, which again, TGI standing for transgender, gender nonconforming, gender variant, and intersex communities. And so with that, that's our local scope, or what SPI will be looking at. Well, let's talk about some of the structure. So SPI has events. The first will be 1 multi-day overnight in-person retreat in downtown LA. And the dates are available on the website. I'll also put the picture up in a moment. And 5 mandatory seminar days. Those will not require lodging, but it will be a mix of some in-person events, some virtual events. And please know that at this time, we don't have capacity to support virtual logins to our in-person events. So where it is in person, we will need you in person. And between these training events and gathering events, you will be meeting with your team, you will be doing research, you will be meeting with local government stakeholders and other possible nonprofits, and you will also receive mentorship. So you will be in regular communication with the foundation. You will have mentorship from SPI staff, and each team will be assigned an alum to be a mentor for their particular issue area. And again, everyone is applying as an individual candidate, and so you will select which issue area you want to be a team member for. In addition, here are the retreat dates. So again, the first event you can see is a multi-day in-person event. All of these information is on our website, so please make sure to reference it. It's also referenced in our application portal. To note, you can see weekdays are critical to participation, and you also should save these dates now if you submit an application so that when you receive final decision from the foundation, you're ready to go. And again, these dates are on our website. And this is also noting that these are, work hours. And so that's why one of the things we require in the application is that you have support of your employer so that you're able to participate. And our hope is also bring back the learnings to your organization. Something we just want to note is new protocols in the COVID-19 era. We will be asking for testing for COVID with self-administered test kits daily. We are going to provide the personal protection equipment, so, masks, and strongly encourage that. And that just to note, because we know that we have to be flexible with what's happening in our community, at a wider stage, that protocols for personal and community health and safety are subject to change. And so in the class of 2020, for example, we went from in-person to 100% virtual. And we are going to do what we can to follow both local county Department of Health protocols, but also just check in with fellows as things are subject to change. But right now, those are our protocols. And so with that, I also want to talk about cost. So thanks to the generous support of many funders, the cost of fellows participating in the Institute is subsidized by the Women's Foundation California. So in other words, it's free to you. For in-person programming, you will be reimbursed for travel to retreats or meeting sites for the training events. You will have your own hotel room during that retreat in April. Most meals at retreats are provided, and if not, we will reimburse you. Perhaps there's a team dinner that you will have. And lastly, if you have children or other kind of attendant care, like a elderly parent, for example, we provide stipends to help cover the cost of this care while you're at an event, again, for a training event. The thing that you should know is that participants or fellows should have their own computer and online access to participate in the virtual programs, to participate in meetings with your team when they're needed on Zoom, and that costs associated with regular teamwork, right? So outside of those training events posted on our website, that's costs you will need to cover. So if you need to make sure you have a cell phone for phone calls or transportation to meet with a school board official, for example, that will be paid by participants. But otherwise, the cost is free to everyone. So we're going to pause there in terms of the slide deck, and we have on us with us a fellow or alumna who's going to share about her experience. And so again, thank you so much, Toya, and I'll stop sharing my screen so we can see you more clearly. Or this is Toya Vic, who works with Starting Over Inc., class of 2022. And so thank you for sharing, Toya. Giving grace to Toya, thank you for sharing with the knowledge that she is speaking from her experience before the refresh of local, but that we just found Toya to be such a delight to work with, and also just want to hear from you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. I appreciate it. Yeah, so being a part of SPI was such a a blessing to me. It was an eye opener. Um, I myself was going through some disparities within my community, and I found out about SPI, and I got aboard. And there, SPI, wow, it's so amazing. They through the fellowship, I learned how to build positive relationships with the local government, networking, public speaking, because I was kind of shy, and then how to control my emotions because I was affected at the time of what we were fighting for. Um, I learned about budgeting, researching, learning different things about data, and it helped me to build trust. And I think like before we first began, we when our group got together, we decided to go with a proclamation, and the proclamation was a component in itself. But we did had to you have to research your city first of all, and then go to the website and see what the website and see if they have examples of that proclamation. You can either submit it by phone, email, or U.S. mail. You call and follow up about it. You be sure to include a bio of your organization and like the honorary, whether it's going to be on a particular day, week, or a month. So we strategically tried to go with the proclamation first. Um, it didn't work in our favor as good. We did get the proclamation. Unfortunately, they wanted to give us a certificate. So then we went into policy change, took it on a larger scale, which was whoa, deeper. And SPI really came through because I knew nothing about local government, elected officials, city council, none of that. So with that, we researched and we found out how local government worked, as well as we had our mentor. When we had questions, we were going crazy. We would call our mentors and they would lead us through and give us support on that. And that was very powerful. Um, then building that relationship with your elected officials is very key and important. We had to meet tons and tons of meetings, either virtually or in person, and I'm an in-person person. I like to follow up. So that the good things about following up, speaking to your city, your mayor, the city officials, the different city council people. And then once they heard the issue, we had to meet with the different departments. And those different departments was like the housing and just homeless and housing committee, the planning committee, city attorneys, law enforcement. I mean, it got really, really deep. So if you got the passion, and I know that you all are here, so you do, don't give up no matter what it looks like, because you do have challenges, because you come up against the resistance to change, because nobody wants to admit error. They're city elected officials. They can't be making an error. They're cautious about lawsuits, where that accountability fall if it's been harmful to the community or caused harm, resource constraints. They want to know about funding. And that's a good thing where SPI came in, because it taught us about budgeting and the different budgets. But also on the upside, we were able to build trust. We had found our allies within the city that supported the work and heard the stories, the personal stories. We had to put together PowerPoints, and it really took a team. And we were very inclusive. We didn't leave each other out. We heard each other. We took all ideas, put them on the table. We reached out in the community and found other organizations. And Elizabeth was talking about other organizations, yes, that was more strategic at data analysis. So that helped us out. We were able to build a relationship with the public health department, which also played a good part in our advocacy. And it took after we graduated and finished SPI, still our fight went on for 5 years. So it took us time to get our ordinance, get to repeal it. So it was a lot. It was a lot. So any questions you want to ask me, or I
I,
just can't speak good enough about SPI.
Thank you so much, Toya. I do want to note, I'm sorry I didn't share earlier. Toya's team was looking at increasing access to housing for the formerly incarcerated community. And so our experience, one, I want to name that content knowledge with any of the issue areas doesn't mean you were necessarily formally employed for, 10 years in climate justice, but that you're impacted, or that if or you're impacted by the criminalization systems. So I want to just honor and uplift, Toya, how you have always shared about the experience you've seen working at Starting Over, your personal family's experience, and to return back to that foundation principle that we know what our community needs, and that's not just professional experience, it comes from personal experience. The other
Yes.
thing I want to share or just reflect on for our attendees is that Toya's team is one of those teams that went on to change policy after the institute ended. And so we have learned from experiences like yours, Toya, that we want to make sure you get all, like, the new institute will still include the budget training. The new institute will still include the local government 101, like what does county do versus everything else.
Mhm.
And so we've learned from your experience that we try to give you the content and skills now, because it is local government sometimes takes a while. And so that's how the Institute has changed, where our focus will be on the proclamations, our focus will be on getting you into relationship with electeds. And sometimes we learn a lot from not getting the proclamation, like your team did. We
Mhm.
learn that these are the real hidden power, or we learn this is how we need to do more education with our county officials, our school board. And so I just really want to honor you, Toya, for both the work you've done with your community through SPI and the learnings your team gave us to refresh the program to better suit the needs of advocates like yourselves.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And new team, you're gonna benefit.
So we do have a moment if there's any questions specific for Toya, if you want to type it in the question and answer box right now. Toya will be staying on for the length of the seminar, or info webinar. So if you have a question that occurs to you later, feel free to, again, to put it in the question and answer chat. Um, but yeah, thank you so much, Toya. I'm going to return
Mhm.
to the slides so we can get people some time back for their lunch. And so one moment while I share the screen. All right. Does that look clear? There's nothing blocking the slides? Cool. Um, so so participant requirements. Again, support of your employer. In our FAQ section on the website, we know some people apply and they're perhaps self-employed in various ways, consultants, other care, etc. So if you don't fall into the traditional, I work for a nonprofit space, read the FAQs. And if you still have questions, contact us. Commitment to attending all training events. That's why we put them on the website. Every training event is an opportunity for you to learn from each other, to learn the content that we hope will launch you for the rest of your trajectory in advocacy, and then also just to network amongst each other. An average of 24 hours additional time a month during the work week to work on your policy proclamation or your research or getting to know, meeting with elected officials, meeting with government staff. So there's the training program and then the time to meet with your teams, for example, as part of the 24 hours. A willingness to bring what you've learned in SPI back to your community organization. And so again, our goal is to invest in you and hopefully also impact those around you, your organization, your community. And willingness to engage in the SPI network after your training program. And so we are very intentional about staying in touch with our alumni, and we hope that you will come to the Institute with that spirit. And then also daily communication during the work week. And so sometimes things come up, or sometimes you need to tell us what's happening with your team that we can assist. So just that's also a requirement. Returning to the issue areas, climate justice, for immigration systems, which again is the intersection of the criminal justice system and immigration enforcement, housing security, and transgender, genderqueer, and intersex wellness and justice. These issue areas are different from the state program. You do not have to have a huge trajectory in an issue area, but we ask in the application that you share like why this issue area, how you may have been personally affected or close to this issue area. Because again, for us, experience and those closest to the problem are not just the professional workers, it's also that life experience. So please remember we have that hopefully expansive view of your connection to the issue area. In addition, the application, some information. So the class again of 2025 is recruiting individual applications from Los Angeles County. And when we mean from Los Angeles County is either you live in some part of LA County or half of your work or more is in LA County. Please read the website and the FAQs thoroughly before applying. At the bottom of the page on the website is all the frequently asked questions. If we still don't answer your particular question, please feel free to email us. And then the application itself is going to take you to a portal. When you click on the link to apply, SurveyMonkey apply, you're going to ask questions about yourself, your sponsoring organization or / employer, and a few narrative questions. I want to note our narrative questions you can submit in 2 different ways. One is through like a written essay, or you can record yourself answering the questions. We don't want people who perhaps are nervous or not as expressive in written form to be an impediment to applying. So you can apply and answer the narrative questions or like the essay questions with the video upload. If you have any issues with that, let us know. Again, email us. Another component of the application is an applicant requirements agreement. It's available on the application and portal. It's a PDF that we want you to download, print, and you and your employer or supervisor review the application requirements and sign off, and then upload an image or a PDF of that document. And then a note that we do interviews for SPI local, but not everyone accepted into the program is going to receive an interview for just various reasons. Any interviews we do conduct will be requested during to be done around the time of March 13th to March 20th. And that's an overview of our application. So with that, I do want to talk a little bit about selection criteria. So individual sorry, go ahead.
Before we get to selection criteria, I just want to give Toya a chance to answer a question that we got in the Q&A. So the question says, Toya, thank you so much for sharing your experiences and perspectives. Based on your experience, did all of your cohort members remain during the 5 years? And how did you address the moments of doubt during this period?
Thank you. Thank you. Let me give you some love for that. Thank you so much. Yes, we did stay together the whole entire 5 years, and even still now to this day. The whole work took 7 years, 2 years by myself, and then 5 with my team and others. And in spite of disparities, I stayed prayerful. I am a woman of faith, and I refuse to be a victim and to be victimized. I said, no, I'm victorious. I'm an overcomer. And I can't allow this what happened to me happen to anyone else. This has to end. And no matter, even though the backlash and the retaliation that I received, I still stayed focused because I knew this was my calling to do. And just empowerment. So I love it. And I'm just thankful to SPI and the knowledge and support they gave, and everyone else that played a key factor in this. It wasn't just me, it was a team. It took all of us. And I appreciate the question. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Toya. Again, we hope we have refreshed the program in a way that gives you knowledge, gives you public speaking practice, and that what I would add as well is that our experience has been for SPI state or SPI local, some of the skills you gain can apply to any local or any level of government advocacy. And so we hope that's why we hope to stay connected with alumni like yourself, Toya.
Thank you.
For the selection criteria, so again, individual applicants who work or live in LA County, and applicants in your application, please demonstrate content knowledge in your issue area. Again, it doesn't have to require a long resume. It could be personal experience. It could be volunteering. It could, so please remember that our definition is broader in terms of content or experience, and how participating in the Institute will increase the policy advocacy work at your org or in your community. So again, our focus is you as individual leaders, but we also want to impact to go through you, beyond you, etc. A commitment to learning, fully participating, and being part of a team, and support from your employer if you are employed in, a full-time job at a nonprofit, for example. So those are the reviewed questions. Information. Now we're going to have time for more questions. So again, I'm going to stop sharing the screen, and we're going to please pose questions to the question and answer box. We still have about 6 or so minutes for the time that we wanted to end the seminar, info webinar, but we're able to go beyond that as well. One question is, do we get to choose the city in LA to focus on? I think you'll have to negotiate with your team. And I think also we will be transparent. It depends on who applies. And so we recognize that we could have applicants from across the county, maybe half the team is from a particular city. And so I think the question will be, one, what representation you have on your team in terms of where your work is. And then other is opportunity. In some cases, a proclamation in a particular city presents a better opportunity than another. So it's to be determined, and to be determined and joint with your team. There's a question in the chat. Can you write what an ADA is? But I can say one of the ways we've refreshed the program is that the focus is on the information sharing about local government budgets, and that some teams' proclamations will be beginning the conversation around the issue area at their local government of choosing. And so we will have skills, knowledge, mentorship that gives you more about information about particular policies, but we are going to start with proclamations as a way to open a conversation, as a way to get you in relationship with local government, stakeholders, and Americans with Disabilities Act. Oh, ADA stands for Assistant District Attorney. Oh, okay. Yeah, so in that scenario, we can talk to your team with, for example, you're interested in the co-immigration systems issue area, about what would be a proclamation or their equivalent to begin that conversation, begin that policy campaign for your team. So thank you for clarifying. And then there's a question in the Q&A. If hypothetically there are numerous applicants for one focus area, will you consider them for other focus areas? Yes, especially when there's an abundance of applicants in one issue area and not as big of an abundance in another. Our readers will be keeping an eye on this applicant is strong candidate for SPI and maybe would be interested in the issue area. We would also tell you as an applicant, hey, like, would you be interested in X issue area? So you won't be assigned another issue area without being consulted. I'm going to put it in the chat, but we also, if any question occurs to you, you can email us at our SPI inbox. I'm making sure that it's correct. And so please feel free to email us. Again, read the questions from the FAQ. Most likely there will be an answer for some of y'all in there. But let us know. And again, the deadline for the application is February 28th at 3 p.m. And so please get started in the portal if you are interested in applying, just so that you're familiar with the essay questions that you can write or do a video response to. And again, we're going to send a recording of this webinar with the link back to the application page to everyone who registered, whether they attended or not.
May I say something? I want to tell the new team coming on, everyone, that during my time, please don't be shy to speak up and ask questions if it's something that you are unsure about or you will want to know. There is no silly question. This is the way that you learn and break from being shy, and to get over, if you are experiencing those disparities, how to overcome that. And just reach out, ask as many questions if you want. If you have to ask it 2 or 3 or 4 more times, then you do it until it locks in, but it's amazing. Congratulations to you all.
Thank you so much, Toya. We try to get we will get experts in all the training materials, and we also want experts who are representative and have worked with communities like us, right? So we understand city hall or county or school board does not function in a way that's friendly to our community, right? The county starts their meeting at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday. So please consider us as a place where you can learn and ask those questions and advance both your skill set and just knowledge, because we are here to serve, especially communities of color, especially everyone impacted by gender injustice and in an intersectional frame. And that the final thing we will end on is that we always have appreciation for feedback. And so all participants are required to fail evaluations after our events at the end of the year, so that we can continue to refine this program and support people who are at that program. And so also I just want to share that, this has been redesigned in a way that's very accessible, we hope, to beginning intermediate learners of policy advocacy. So we hope that will help us widen the bench across California for advocates. And the question in the question and answer box is the cohort we're looking for is 16, so 4 people per team.
I wanted to add one thing as well for anybody who's interested in applying would be if you're concerned about even though the program is free, if you're concerned about other financial barriers to applying, to do your best to not let that be a concern for you, because we as a foundation will do the best to support every applicant and any participation needs that they might have. As Elizabeth mentioned in the beginning, we do offer childcare support and attendance support. And also, we cover your meals and your transportation to participate in the program. And we're also open to hearing about any extenuating circumstances. So we know that this is a program for people who are impacted by these type of social issues. So we just also want to make sure that it's financially accessible for people.
And thank you for saying that. And I don't know if I'm out of line. If I am, please forgive me. But if anyone would like to reach out to me and support you, I'm more than welcome. You can ask, Elizabeth to give you my information, and I'm more than happy to support you and help guide you along the way. Come out there, advocate, whatever it is it's going to take.
Thank you so much, Toya. And with that, we'll end. And so again, our email, let us know if you want Toya's information. We will send a recording. We will send a link to the application page on our website. And that concludes our first info webinar.